What's up, weirdo? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Felicia, and if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button if you want to hang out with me all the time and talk about horror movies and stuff like that. If you didn't know, in March on my channel, I am only reviewing movies that were either written and or directed by women, and today we are continuing that with a Canadian horror film from 2012 called American Mary. So this movie was written and directed by the Soska twins. They are Canadian. Jen and Sylvia Soska have co-directed and written a few horror movies by now. They also were the host on the Blumhouse Elevator series, if any of you saw that. They sometimes go by the name the Twisted Twins, and they are pretty much all horror everything. That's really their thing, which I think is awesome. They're even mentioned in Sister of Darkness, which is a R.H. Stavis book, which is actually a really cool book about like modern day exorcisms, but they're featured in that because they know her. So they're really horror queens, if you will. So this movie follows, obviously, Mary. She's played by Katharine Isabelle, who you will of course know from Ginger Snaps. She is just so beautiful. So Mary was in school to become a surgeon. She's doing really well, but is having some financial difficulties through a traumatic event that she has that I won't tell you now, plus the need for money. She ends up getting into the sort of underground, illegal surgery business. She gets to know this club owner, and she starts performing surgeries for him, for if anyone did him wrong and they got messed up too bad. She would keep them from dying so they wouldn't have to take them to the hospital, and then eventually she gets into the body modification community. Now, this movie is not perfect, but it is really, really fun. Like, I loved watching it. It does have some flaws I'll get to in a minute, but first, let's talk about the great things. First of all, Katharine Isabelle is just awesome in this movie. We really are with her the whole time, and thank God she does a great job. She also has this acting style that's like very simple and casual, and it reads perfectly in this movie with all these really crazy things happening. It's like a very nice contrast. It's also really nice to see how she's grown as an actress from Ginger Snaps to American Mary. Like, I feel that you can tell a true difference in her craft, and that's pretty cool. Another character I like is this character Beatrice, who's played by Tristan Risk, and she's basically someone that's undergone a lot of body modification surgery to look exactly like Betty Boop. And she's got this like very Betty Boop physicality and voice, and the actor plays it really, really well, and that character is like super interesting to me. I'll also say I really enjoyed the gore in this movie. So obviously there's a lot of surgery stuff that's like super scary, but Mary ends up taking revenge on someone that I won't tell you once again who, for spoiler's sake, but everything she does to him does seem super real. Like, in terms of this being a lower budget movie, I think they did a really good job with all the practical effects. And they did keep it all practical effects, which I think is cool. Now, this movie does have a couple of issues. This was pretty early in the Soska twins' career, and it sort of feels like someone's early work in a way. Like, the story, like the overall concept is like super awesome. The imagery is really, really cool, but the script and some of the editing and potentially some of the direction are just not all really working perfectly together. I'll also say that other than Mary, the rest of the characters seem fairly one-dimensional. I'll say particularly the guy, Dr. Grant, who is sort of the evil dude, the villain. He, as a villain, is like extremely one-dimensional. Like, the first time he comes on screen, like, you know he's the evil dude, and I feel like it might have maybe been interesting if we didn't know that right away, and we could have watched that character as well as some of the other characters sort of grow throughout the movie in different ways, and we do get that with Mary, but we don't really get it with anyone else. Something cool in this movie is, so basically Mary's like taking a bunch of pictures of her work, so she could have like a lookbook for people to come see what they want to get done, see what the possibilities are. And a lot of the people she's taking photos of are actually from the body modification community. So the people you see that have like split tongues or like horns or like whatever, like that is real. Like, that's not someone getting, you know, prosthetics and stuff like that. Like, that is real. So I thought that was pretty cool that they reached out to the community they were talking about to make this movie. That felt really good to me. You will also catch the Soska twins in the movie. I think they do that sometimes. I haven't watched a lot of their other work, but I think that might be a thing for them. But they are in the movie. They're not like the best actresses, but like what they're doing works for the context of the scenes that they're in. And I would also say, like, if I made a horror movie, I'd probably put myself in it too. One crazy fact is that their parents ended up having to mortgage their house to like get this film done and get it finished funding, which I think is like super crazy. And like that's amazing they had that support, because the movie really did turn out pretty awesome. I hope it made money. I actually don't really know, but the movie, I had a good time. So let's get to some ratings. So for the scare, I'm giving it a 2. I didn't find it particularly scary. The gore does get a 4 because of all the surgery stuff. There's a lot of gore in this, a lot of blood. The cheese for me gets like a 2. I will say some of the acting isn't the best. Some of the lines sometimes can feel a little cheesy, but not too bad. So this movie overall gets a 3 for me, and I feel like sometimes there's like 2 ways a 3 can go. A 3 is like it's perfectly average and I won't watch it again, or it's perfectly average and I will. So for me, this one gets a 3 in terms of maybe it's not the best movie, maybe it's got its problems, but I probably am gonna watch it again just because I had so much fun watching it. I'm probably gonna watch it with Lauren, who's the other person on the Sinister Sisters podcast. I think she would really get a kick out of it. And now let's talk about some of my favorite scenes. So I'll say in general, all the times that Mary is performing surgeries, I found really fascinating because, and I think they do mention in this movie like about her surgery being like of her form of art, and she does really act those scenes as though it is like she is an artist. Like the things she is creating on people's bodies and making their bodies do is like her version of art, and like I really felt that in all those scenes, and I thought that was really cool. There's a really funny like fantasy scene. So like this club owner is sort of like he falls in love with Mary, and there's a scene where he like fantasizes her, and she's like dancing on the stage, you know, in her little outfit or whatever, and she just has like a normal cup, like a glass full of blood, and she just like pours it on herself. And I don't know why, but I was just like, for some reason I just loved that scene. I thought it was super funny. One of my favorite things about the movie was the ending. So Mary ends up basically not making it. The lover of one of her clients comes and stabs her, and she kills him, and then she has this scene of her like crawling across the floor, like trying to get to her tools, and then she sews herself up, like she sews herself up on her stomach. And that scene for me, I was like, whoa, like it was like very beautifully filmed and just like really cool, and I really thought she was gonna make it, and I was like, oh my god, she's gonna like save herself, and then she didn't, and that really shocked me. But I also was like, I thought it was like a cool choice because it wasn't what I was expecting. Alright, and that's it, y'all. So go ahead and check out American Mary. Let me know what you think. If you've already seen it, definitely tell me down below what you thought of it. Also, extra points if you can guess what my shirt is from down in the comments. Anybody? Let me know. If you know, you get a nice comment reply. Okay. Alright, I will see you in the next one. Bye.